Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with my review for the series premiere of Sharp Objects on HBO. Alright, so I got a chance to check out Sharp Objects on HBO. Of course, this is the Amy Adams series, right? She's executive producer, I believe, and then she's, of course, starring in it. So this is kind of her show, right, per se, and I think this is kind of her biggest TV role so far. So again, keeping up with this theme of these movie actors, these high-profile movie actors, kind of transitioning over to television, right? Recognizing that television is at a good place right now, and for them to be able to come over, basically get their own show, and showcase a performance like this, it's a really great opportunity. So so I do apologize that this one is a day late. I really wanted to get this out yesterday, but I wasn't at home yesterday almost the whole day, so that is why I am here today to do the review for Sharp Objects. This series premiere should be a quick one. I'm going to try to just share my initial thoughts of this one, just kind of quickly here, and then hopefully you guys can let me know what you thought of it, or if you haven't seen it, maybe I sparked you to, or I inspire you to check it out, and stuff like that. I won't be doing any spoilers or anything in this review. So yeah. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy, and so I'll get into it now. But just quickly, my initial thoughts is it was pretty awesome. Like it's a very, very good show. Just the first impression of it was just really phenomenal. Like it was, and I wasn't that surprised. I mean, my expectations for this show were pretty much met. Like and probably a little exceeded, but not that much. Like I went into this expecting specific things, and I got pretty much every single one of them out of it. So that's kind of my initial thoughts. But anyways, my first point is Amy Adams, a phenomenal performance, right? And that was expected, I would say, or at least I expected it. I went into it, I said, okay, Amy Adams is going to give a worldly performance in this series, and it's going to, kind of guide the series. And I wasn't wrong. I mean, her performance in this first episode, and I don't doubt that the rest of the series will be the same. She was amazing. The other cast was also good as well. Patricia Clarkson, I thought, was pretty good. A lot of people are talking about them as kind of a dynamic duo in the show. I don't really agree with that, because I don't think, at least in this first episode, Patricia Clarkson did not get anywhere close to the screen time that Amy Adams got. So I don't really know how you can call them. Like I saw 1-2 punch, some articles were saying on Variety, dynamic duo, I think someone else was saying in some reviews and stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know if you can really call it that, because it's more just Amy Adams, and Patricia Clarkson's kind of like an add-on to that. And I think, they're not quite on the same level. Not acting-wise, I'm just saying, like, one of them just doesn't get as much screen time, as much focus as the other, right? And that's Patricia Clarkson. But in her role, she does an amazing job as well as kind of I wouldn't even know how, so it's kind of like the mother, kind of estranged mother, right, to Amy Adams' character. And, of course, they're meeting again for the first time in months, or maybe even years. And obviously that relationship is playing out in this first episode, and we're seeing exactly, the disconnect there, right, the obvious disconnect between the two. And both are really great actresses, and they're really giving great performances in this. But Amy Adams in specific, just amazing. I mean, I don't know. There's not one scene in the episode. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think there's one scene in the episode without Amy Adams in it. So that just tells you there that this is kind of her show. So I will say this: I really got a strong The Sinner vibe. The Sinner from this. And I don't know. I really think that's a positive. Because I love The Sinner, and it was a very successful show. But some people may be like, well, that was on USA, and comparing that to HBO isn't right, or whatever. I recognize that some people are going to say that, and I kind of thought that as well when I was thinking of this. I'm like, well, should I compare this? But honestly, I really, really got a strong The Sinner vibe from this series, or at least from this first episode. A lot of things consistent with it. I mean, if you've watched The Sinner and you know that, the story is kind of similar. I mean, you have a main character, who's a woman, right? And you got two amazing performances performed. Jessica Biel and now Amy Adams, right? Both actresses, behind the show are giving great performances in it, right? You also have the mother and daughter relationship that is totally shattered pretty much at the beginning of both of these series. You have sort of a mysterious kind of a death of their younger sister. I mean, like, that's a huge part of The Sinner, right? But the thing with The Sinner is it's kind of focused on, like, its supreme focus is the main character, right? Which is Cora Tenetti, right? And kind of learning more about her. While Sharp Objects is about that, but it also has the storyline of her trying to kind of being like a detective, and trying to solve the case of these two missing girls, right? One is confirmed dead, and then we find out in this episode the status of the other one. So yeah, honestly, I think this is a really great comparison. If I'm able to compare any show to The Sinner, I consider it to be a very good show because I love The Sinner, and obviously it got a lot of praise. Right, so I mean, Jessica Biel and Amy Adams. It's going to be interesting to see who gave the better performance. Amy Adams. It's a little bit different of a kind of persona that she's putting on in this role than Jessica Biel did. But yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's great to see actresses like Jessica Biel and Amy Adams kind of taking the main stage. That doesn't happen a lot on television for these, actresses, kind of powerhouse actresses to be able to kind of captivate an audience like this, and put on a performance like this. You don't see a lot of leads being, a strong female, presence. So really great there as well. That's a very relevant point to bring up. So anyway, so I thought it was a slow burn of a first episode, though it went by fast. I found myself, I was watching the episode, and at one point I checked the time, and it was like 45 minutes into it, and it felt like I was just like 15 minutes in, and it just started. So it went by really fast, but I did feel like it was kind of a slow burn of an episode, right? A lot of development of Camille's character, played by Amy Adams, of course, and not as much action or like leads in the case for the two disappeared girls. It was more focused on just Camille and kind of spotlighting her life, and then of course all these flashbacks and stuff like that. So as a result of all this character building for the Camille Preaker, main character, Amy Adams' character that they're focusing on here, right? So there wasn't as much action in the episode, pertaining to this case that she's kind of. Again, she's not a detective, of course. She's a journalist. That's, her character. But it does seem like they're kind of setting her up to kind of investigate or kind of try to at least figure out what is happening, right? Because she's trying to write a story, ideally. But, of course, she probably wouldn't mind if she was the first to figure out what was happening and maybe who was responsible, right? So I definitely expect more of that going forward, though. I think that's going to be... I think it's going to be a 50-50. I think it's going to be focused on her character, right, and her past and the things that she has kind of been through, right, as we see in this first episode. But then the other 50% is actually going to be investigating kind of this case and talking to more people and kind of getting into this case and maybe even trying to solve it, right? Find a solution, maybe who did it, what's happening, why it's happening, stuff like that. So really looking forward to that going forward. But in this episode, we didn't see a lot of it, and that's why I call it a slow burn. Just of an episode, but also I think it's going to be of a series too. I think 8 episodes here. It's a mini series, or call it a mini series. We'll see if they actually stick to that. But anyways, so yeah, I think it's going to be a slow burn, going to be a slow one, and it's going to get pretty intense, and it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, great visuals throughout, capturing the overall mood and tone of the series, kind of a dark, bleak atmosphere, and honestly, the cinematography for this, the visuals, just every and I don't know, like even just at the very beginning when she's not even in Wind Gap, which is obviously the town that's being focused on in the series. Even when she's not in Wind Gap and we see just like her and her apartment and everything just seems kind of bleak and kind of dark, right? And the way that they're able to show it, right, and display that, just with the kind of colors they're using and stuff. Ozark did a really great job with this on Netflix with capturing that atmosphere through the cinematography, and Sharp Objects does a great job as well. So And that's what makes the series even like a little bit hard to watch, even because it's so bleak, right? With everything looking the way it does, it's just so bleak, even to the point where it's like, is there any hope in this show, right? Like, is there any hope for Camille, or is there any hope for any of the other number of the characters in Wind Gap and whatever, right? So yeah, so really great job there capturing that. I mean, that's amazing when a show is able to do that. So great use of flashbacks as sort of like episodes that modern Camille is having. Yeah, so I would say like kind of PTSD episodes a little bit. She's remembering this, and pretty vividly too. She's remembering these moments. And the girl from It, the actress Sophia Lillis, perfect fit to play her in this show. A lot of people were saying that they wanted Amy Adams to be in the It adult version, right, to play Sophia Lillis as as an older woman in the adult It, right? But I think this is actually pretty cool because Sophia Lillis is actually at least the two are going to be connected anyways with something, and it's going to be for this show. Sophia Lillis did a great job in her roles. I think she only had like 3 or 4 lines in the kind of the flashback scenes that we saw. But she was really great, and I really just like that she's kind of playing the younger Amy Adams. She's really perfect. I mean, they not even just the looks, but just like kind of the way that both of them go about the scenes and everything. It's really great. So she's a great person to have, a great actress to have playing those flashbacks, and they were very, very well found in this episode. I felt like they were just placed at the perfect time, certain things setting her off, we can see throughout the episode. And again, this is where it brings back the Sinner, right? This is exactly what happened in the Sinner. Certain things would just kind of trigger that memory, and then things would start to come back, and we see like those flashbacks are very vivid, and at the in modern time, Camille or Cora actually feel that in the moment. They feel like the same pain that they felt in that kind of flashback scene. So really great way of kind of integrating that and showing that within the show. And also the show's already tackling various kind of issues already, right? We see a very large substance abuse problem for Camille in this first episode. So whether they go about, in the series, maybe her trying to tackle this problem, maybe trying to solve it in the future, we'll have to see. I would think so, right? Hopefully that's what they're kind of building to, that she, starts out like this, and she's, smoking cigarettes and all this stuff. So she's obviously trying to relieve some of her pain and turning to, substance abuse to do so. So obviously that's, very relevant issue. And then also we see at the very end of the episode, now, okay, so this is a little bit of spoilers, so I do apologize for that, but it is just one scene. It doesn't give away everything, but we do see at the very end of the episode, if you don't want, just skip a few seconds ahead right now, but anyways, so we see at the very end of the episode when she's in the bathtub there, these scars on her body. It's crazy, all these words that she's kind of engraved into her skin, and some could say, I guess, that's self-harm, maybe a little bit, and so yeah, so again, another issue. And then also the PTSD type episodes that she's having and stuff like that. So very well captured, very well demonstrated throughout the episode, at least, and they're not really holding back, which is something great to see. They're showing her abusing alcohol a lot through this episode. The scars at the end of the episode, they are not holding back and showing that to us. And obviously the PTSD flashbacks, we see a lot of those. So really like that they're not holding back, and they're really doing a good job of kind of demonstrating these issues throughout this first episode. So that's obviously a very good thing. One of the only negatives is that there were a few filler scenes throughout the episode that we didn't really need to see. And honestly, this is one of the only negatives I could think of after seeing this first episode. Because yes, it was kind of a slower paced, kind of a slow burn of an episode. But like I said, it went by really fast. It wasn't like it was boring, right? So, there's obviously a little bit of a trade-off there. But yeah, this is one of the only negatives. I just thought throughout the episode, with her going back to town, she was having conversations with some people that we haven't met before, obviously. We don't know who they are, and we never really get introduced to them or learn anything about them. It's just a scene where she's kind of talking to them again, and we're just supposed to, kind of assume, of course, that they knew each other when she used to live there, right? And I just felt like a couple of these scenes were just kind of filler. They didn't seem like we really needed them to further the story or her character. So that would be the only negative for me, is that there were just a few of those. Now, I could count them on, just one hand, right? There wasn't that many, and I'm not saying the whole episode was filler, anything like that. I'm just saying some of the scenes we probably didn't need to see, and then, in turn, we could have maybe seen a little bit more action and learned a little bit more about the case of the two missing girls, right? That's not too much of a focus in this episode. So, yeah, maybe we could have seen more of that. It's possible, right? But other than that, that's honestly one of the only negatives I could think of for this episode. Like, it was very, very good. So all in all, just to wrap things up, seems like it enhanced The Sinner, and that's honestly, mainly because it's on HBO and The Sinner is on USA. Obviously, I'm not discrediting the writers or the actors in Sharp Objects, but I'm just saying, HBO, obviously, they had a bigger budget for Sharp Objects than The Sinner did, so that could also be the case too. But honestly, it seems like it enhanced The Sinner with a phenomenal performance from Amy Adams, guiding what seems to be a slow burn psychological thriller going forward. And just to wrap things up here, I'm going to give a rating of it. I'm going to give it a 4.7 out of 5. Maybe even higher than that. Maybe a 4.8 I would maybe go to. But yeah, I mean, I really, like I said, one of the only negatives I could think of is that, filler scenes throughout the episode. I thought the writing was very good as well. Of course, the performances from the actors, in particular, actress Amy Adams was really, really great. It's going to be an interesting story going forward. I think this show is only going to get better from here. I think this episode, if we look back on Sharp Objects maybe in, 2 months' time when the series is over, I think we're going to look back and say, that first episode wasn't even, close to the best episode of the series, of the 8 episodes. And I truly do believe that. I think the show is going to get really exciting. It's going to get even more bleak, I think, even more dark. But I think it's going to be very, very interesting going forward. So, yeah, 4.7 for this episode, but maybe it might even get higher for the series as a whole once we see it play out. It could be possible. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this review for the series premiere of Sharp Objects. I don't think I will be doing week-to-week reviews for this show, just because my summer lineup, my schedule is just jam-packed right now. I find myself watching like 2 or 3 shows almost every day, trying to catch up with some, and then also watching current shows week to week. So far in the summer, like just in the first 2 weeks. So it's just really packed for me. Maybe I'm taking on too much. I probably am, to be honest. So the Sharp Objects I probably won't be doing week to week, but I will probably be doing a finale review. So stay tuned for that. Probably in 7 weeks from now. I'll probably have that out after I'm caught up and I finish the finale as well. Hopefully on time. So, anyways, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. Thank you so much for the support on Let's Talk Television, the recent episode. Getting a lot of love from you guys, a lot of likes, comments. You're really getting some good discussion. So if you haven't checked out that episode, you're new to the channel, please check it out. It's on Succession on HBO, another great HBO show so far this summer. And so, yeah, check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But anyways, that'll just about do it for me. We'll see you next time in my next review.